What's up, everybody? If you are thinking about moving to Rockville, Maryland, this is the video for you. I'm gonna go through it all and make sure you stay till the end. So I'm gonna tell you some things that no one else is gonna. I can guarantee it. So let's just dive right in. First, let's just talk about the location, because this is why I chose Rockville when I moved back here almost 20 years ago. Whether you're commuting into DC or Northern Virginia, or if you have to go north to Gaithersburg or even east to Baltimore, Rockville is at the center of it all. It is an easy commute to any of these places. It probably takes me about 20 minutes to get to the border of DC, and also about 20 minutes to get to Northern Virginia because I can hop right on 270. So it's just a really centrally located place if you have to work in any of these places or just want to take advantage of all they have to offer. And as far as grocery stores, if you like a variety, right here in Rockville, we have access to Harris Teeter, which is up the street in Park Potomac. We've got Safeway at Falls Grove. We have Giant at King Farm. We even have Dawson's Market, our local grocery market, right in Rockville Town Center. So you have a plethora of grocery stores all around Rockville. And if you prefer Costco, which I kind of do once a month, otherwise it gets too expensive, it's just right up in Gaithersburg. So even Costco is right next door, maybe a 15-20 minutes top commute if you live in Rockville. And as far as hospitals, you've got Shady Grove Hospital and Holy Cross Germantown Hospital to the north, about 7 miles. And you've got Suburban Hospital in Bethesda to the south, also about 7 miles. So you have access to 3 hospitals that are super close by. My next pro about living here is that there is so much to do. Now, like I said, you can head into DC or Northern Virginia and take advantage of all they have to offer, but you don't have to go that far, because right here in Rockville, we have Rockville Town Center, which has so many different shops and restaurants, got a movie theater, and even an ice skating rink. And don't forget about the public library. It's right there in Rockville as well. So for all ages, there's something to do. And if you prefer to be outside, just head on up to Lake Needwood, where there's tons of hiking and biking and boating and kayaking and picnics and really beautiful trails. So it's a lot of fun. But wait, there's more. We also have Pike and Rose, which has tons of shops and restaurants, as well as an iPic movie theater, a bowling alley, and Bark Social, where you can bring your dog, grab a beer, and hang out. It's really fun. But maybe you're into art and music. Well, we've got you covered. We have Strathmore Music Center and Strathmore Mansion, which has concerts all year around, as well as different art shows in their galleries. Or you can pop right next door to Potomac to Glenstone Museum, which is really unique and incredibly beautiful. You gotta check out all their outdoor sculptures. They're really special. If you don't mind a little drive, about 15-20 minutes away, you've got Great Falls National Park and the Billy Goat Trail, which if you watch my videos, you know it's one of my favorites. All I'm saying is all this stuff to do for all ages is either right here in Rockville or literally right next door. So my next pro has to do with how you're gonna get around. What if you wanna go into DC for the day and you don't feel like driving? Well, unlike our neighbor Potomac, Rockville has 3 metro stops. We've got Rockville Metro Stop, which is right in Rockville Town Center. And these are all on the red line, so they'll all take you right into DC. We also have Shady Grove Metro Stop, which is the first stop on the red line, which is really nice because you can get a seat. And then we also have Twinbrook Metro Stop. So you have 3 different choices of metro stops, which are right here in Rockville, which is a real plus, because you'll see a little later in my cons, traffic's not so great here. So just remember, when I start talking about that we do have 3 different metro stops. My next pro has to do with the schools here, because being a realtor for the last 20 years, this is one of the reasons that a lot of my clients choose to live in Rockville. If you check out some of the websites that do rank schools, like niche.com and greatschools.org, there are several Rockville schools that seem to always be very highly rated. They include Thomas Wooten High School, Richard Montgomery High School, and Walter Johnson High School. So I'll put the links below so you can check for yourself and see if it's a good fit. And if you're looking for community colleges, we have Montgomery Montgomery County Community College, which is located right here in Rockville, Maryland. So my next pro has to do with sports. Whether you're into playing them or simply watching them, we have a lot of sports here in Rockville. You can find different rec leagues, or you could find more competitive leagues, whether you want to play soccer or field hockey, lacrosse or football, or probably pretty much anything. You could find it here in Rockville. And if you're more of an observer and you just want to have fun, well, the Friday Night Lights football at the different high schools is a lot of fun. And if you're moving here from out of state and you want to know who we root for as far as our national teams, well, we tend to side with the Washington teams more than the Baltimore ones, just FYI. So you've got the Washington Capitals, the Washington Nationals, and the Commanders. And if you really want to root for Baltimore, well, you can, but most of us here in Rockville tend to side with the DC teams. All right, you still with me? Stay with me because we got a couple more pros to go and then I'm gonna get to the cons. And like I said, I got some stuff to tell you that as a resident, I know that I'm not sure everybody else is aware of. So let's keep going. Next pro is about diversity. WildHub did a study in 2022 for the most diverse cities in America, and Rockville placed number 10 out of 501. So if you're looking for a diverse place to live, Rockville's your place. And if you want to live in a place where there's a lot of job opportunities, Rockville is at the center of the biotech industry. In fact, Rockville has over 170 of the 350 bioscience companies located right here in Rockville. One thing to note about the city of Rockville is that it is its own incorporated city with its own set of rules and regulations. You also have a great sense of community and a lot of services that the city offers its residents. Take a look at this quick list about all the different services that the city of Rockville offers us. In addition to all of that, the city of Rockville will also take care of your trash, recycling, snow, and leaf removal. So it really does take care of its own. So I just want to talk about housing and real estate just for a quick second because we'll talk about it more later. But it's important for me to tell you that you do get more bang for your buck here in Rockville than its neighbors Bethesda, Potomac, or Chevy Chase. So just remember that when we get to one of the cons later. So my next pro has to do with the weather. So I thought I'd take you guys outside with me because right now we're in the middle of April and it's about 75 degrees out here. It is stunning. And we have good weather most of the year. Our winters are pretty mild and our falls are spectacular. As for our summers, well, we'll get to those later. All right, let's move on to the cons. So the first con about living in Rockville does have to do with real estate and housing. Now, like I said, the pro is you definitely get more bang for your buck here in Rockville compared to its neighbors Bethesda and Potomac. But it's still very expensive to live here. Bestplaces.net gave Rockville a score of just about 140 compared to the US average of 100 for overall expenses. And that's pretty bad. But where it gets even worse is if you look at housing. When you look at housing compared to the US average, bestplace.net gave Rockville a 204 score because it is very expensive to live here. Whenever you live right outside of a major city, and we are very close to DC, it's just expensive to live here. So I have to point that out. But like I said, you do get more bang for your buck here, and we do have a much wider range of price points compared to our neighbors Bethesda and Potomac. So the next con about living in Rockville has to do with an additional tax if you live in the city of Rockville. Now this is a little confusing, so I'm going to explain it to you. Not every house in Rockville is in the city of Rockville. In fact, there are also houses in Potomac that are located in the city of Rockville. And if you live in the city of Rockville, you have to pay a Rockville tax. I know, it's a little confusing, but it is what it is. So here's the deal. The tax is based on the assessed value of your house, and it's 0.292 of the assessed value. And houses here in Montgomery County and the city of Rockville get assessed every 3 years. So it's a little confusing. So to give you an example of what would happen today in April of 2023, if your house was assessed at $500,000, then the Rockville tax for the year would be $1,460 or $121 a month. And this is all on your property tax bill. This isn't a separate bill that you get. It's all on your property taxes. And if your lender is paying your property taxes, they're gonna pay this as well. So it's not a separate bill unless you paid cash for your house, and then obviously you would pay it yourself. And with that tax comes all those services I mentioned in the pros. That whole list of services that are free that Rockville offers, as well as, like I said, you do get trash and recycling and snow and leaf removal, which is really convenient because the trucks will just come around and they'll vacuum all your leaves up. You don't have to bag them and take them anywhere. You just take them to the curb and they vacuum them all up. So there are a lot of benefits and a lot of services that come from living in the city of Rockville, and there's also a tax that you pay. And once again, and it's important that you understand this and that I say this, because not every house that's located in Rockville, Maryland is located in the city of Rockville. So if you're confused about this, or if you want to know if a house is located in the city of Rockville, just email me, I'll look it up for you, I'll let you know. And if you want to work with somebody who knows this, definitely email me and we'll set up a Zoom, we'll talk about it, because it can be a little confusing. It can seem off-putting. It's really not. There's some great services for living in the city of Rockville, and it's just something you need to know. All right, let's move on to my last couple of cons, and then I want to get to the one that I hinted at the beginning of the video, because I think you'll find it really interesting if you're thinking about moving here. And one more thing I wanted to point out about the city of Rockville is that I know it's its own city, but you are also in Montgomery County. So just be aware that you also pay Montgomery County taxes. Now, I hinted about this when I was talking about the metros because our traffic is really bad. We are a small state with a lot of people, and Rockville's pretty crowded. So if you are going to drive into DC or Northern Virginia or any of these places around us, you're gonna have to deal with traffic. But we do have the ICC, which is fairly new, is built within the last 10 years, the Inter-County Connector. So if you are going east to Baltimore, that's a really quick way to get there. There are some tolls, but it will save you a lot of time. And one other thing to note, besides all the traffic, is we have a lot of cameras everywhere for speeding, for red lights, for stop signs. Be aware of the cameras. I promise you, even when I'm driving to my office, I use Waze just to remind me of where those pesky cameras are. So just be aware, we got a lot of traffic. We do have the ICC, but it has tolls. We have a lot of cameras, but we do have the metro. So there's that. So the next con has to do with the weather. I know I took you outside to show you how beautiful it is around here in April. It's about 80 degrees outside, but it's not great all the time. In fact, the summers, especially about the middle of July to the middle of August, they get very, very hot, very humid, very buggy, and a lot of allergies. Well, the allergies are actually worse in the spring than the summer, but we have a lot of pollen allergies and other allergies here. So if you are moving here, just be aware of that. Check and see if you need to take allergy medication or not, but just be aware, look it up, see what the allergies are, because we do have them here. And while in the summer, it's just really hot and really humid. So do what I do. Just try to get out of here. Go to Delaware or go to the beach or even the Eastern Shore, anywhere where there's a breeze to give you some relief. So hopefully you're still with me, because we are on to the last con about living in Rockville, Maryland, which is not really a con, it's more something you need to know. So it has to do with radon, and I'm not going to really go into what radon is. It's a natural gas that comes from the ground. I have a video on it, so you can check that out if you want. But here's the difference between living in the city of Rockville versus other places in Montgomery County. The city of Rockville is exempt from releasing radon results to the buyers by settlement. That doesn't mean there is no radon in Rockville. It just means that we don't have to give any radon results to the buyers by settlement like you have to do in other parts of Montgomery County unless you are exempt. So it's important for you to know that if you're buying a house here, because if you don't do your own radon test, which a lot of times in a competitive market, you don't have time to do that, you are not going to be given the results by settlement like you would be if you lived outside of the city of Rockville, unless you're in another exempt place. But most of Montgomery County is not exempt. There are only a few places that are, and the city of Rockville is one of them. On the other side, if you are a seller selling, just know you don't have to provide those results. So this, once again, could seem a little confusing. Definitely email me. I'm happy to talk to you if you're thinking about moving here, to explain it a little better. But it's just something you need to know if you're thinking about moving here, because I want you to feel comfortable and I want you to know everything possible. I hope you guys got some value out of today's video. It's a lot of fun for me to make these videos about places that I love and places that I live and places that I work. And if you have any questions about anything, like I've said, call, email, text. I'm happy to talk to you about anything you want to talk about. And if you want to see some more pros and cons of different places in Montgomery County, check out these next two videos. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Bye.